So I'm making a booknook that is about standard size. It's Grecian themed. It is 10 inches high and 10 inches deep, about 5 inches wide, and the inspiration was this picture. So you have to kind of measure everything, even though I dislike measuring things. And here I am, sort of trying to fit it in. And this is for the cobblestones, and it is really the packaging for Costco meat patties. I know it sounds gross, but it works really well. So measure, because some things have to be measured in life, like cobblestones. So when I cut the inside, I always cut it a little bit shorter than the outside so that it'll fit. And cobblestones are easy. Just kind of outline with pen, outlining everything. And then you kind of score the little depressions in between the stones. And here it is. Gives it a little texture, kind of makes it look nice. And then I seal everything with Mod Podge. This also helps the paint to stick onto the smooth styrofoam. And then afterwards I paint it all white to sort of tone down that grayness from the pen. I don't know why I bother, because it's going to get covered up anyway. It just makes me feel better. And then I use 3 colors just to kind of give variety to the stones. So I wanted to stick with blues and grays because that kind of makes me think of Greece. I've never been, by the way. I'd love to go one day, but you know, I can't afford it on a salary that I have. It's very American, isn't it? So there you have it, about 3 colors in. And when it's completely full, your eye doesn't think that there's anything wrong. It's really bright right now, but then I add in some spackle. Is that it? Is that what it's called? Spackle? I don't know. I would tell you, but I can't find the container right now. And then off camera, because I'm silly like that and I forget things, I made a little archway. And a little later in the video, you'll see how I made this. So again, I seal everything with Mod Podge. It helps things stick. Plus, it helps it to kind of protect the surface. Oops, mistakes. That's okay. Life's full of mistakes. You just kind of, you know, fix them. And then Mouse likes to sniff everything. That's what he does. So here is how I make bricks for archways and for walls, and that's just cork. And then I'm kind of lazy and I don't like measuring things, so I print out measurements and then I stick it on. And it's great because then, you know, all I have to do is cut. I always start cutting with a knife because it makes it neater. And then because I don't want to kind of break my wrists, I cut the rest with scissors. And as you can see, I make multiple colors. And then here's one of those archways. And you can see once all the multiple colors are in, it looks pretty good. It looks sort of real. And then I have these laser cut fences and windows from something from long ago, I don't know what. And I'm putting toothpicks in them to kind of make them more stable. By the way, I only used the window and the door in the final project, but you know, that's what happens. So after everything sort of dries from the Mod Podge, I put a black wash, kind of age it a little bit, make it look a little dirty. And then I thought blue fences would look cool. Blue doors. I mean, not completely blue, because, you know, it would be in Greece, right? So, a little rust. So I add a little bit of alcohol to my mixing of paints because I find that it helps to dry things faster. So I use alcohol instead of water. So the window that you see here and the door were the ones that were used. And so I had to make a door frame. In case you're looking at my desk going, oh my God, she's so messy. Well, you know, I am. I admit it. Limited space. And so I decided that I was also going to make some steps. And this is scrap paper from a book, a sticker by number book that my kids and I and my students and I did. And I used the scraps, the key actually, because they made really good tiles. And then after I put the tiles on, by the way, I'm using corkboard, you know, the foam corkboard. Not corkboard, foam board. The one for projects. This was like scrapped from projects that the students used. And then I'm putting on gloss accents because it makes it look like tile. Gives it a little bit of dimension too. And then this is also one of those scrap papers and it looks like tile. It looks really cool. I thought it was really pretty. And I stuck it onto this cardboard that I found from a t-shirt packaging. I'm going to save this cardboard because it's really stiff cardboard. It's really smooth, really good for projects. And again, scrap from that sticker by number book that my students did. And then adding on the gloss accents to the little heart. And if you look closely, you can see it really looks like tile. Very pretty. And so there's the door frame. And there's a little sticker of mouse. And so this is how I make the brick walls. If I could just open the darn thing. Sort of planning the colors, the spacing. I don't really measure anything. I sort of plan, then spackle, after sealing with Mod Podge, of course. And then this is from some scrap packaging. And there That's that handy alcohol. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of twisting it and getting it wet. Not with water because water takes too long to dry up. And then twisting it so that I can make some branches. And I'm adding Mod Podge here. It'll help the branches sort of retain their shape. One of the biggest branches is going to be, not a branch, it's going to be the trunk of a tree. So twist, twist, twist. And so it's a close enough approximation of a vine. And so, again, off camera because I'm not very good, I started planning the inside right wall. And then there are those pretty tiles that you saw. So I save all the little scraps, even the little catty corners. Oh my god, catty corners. Now you probably know how old I am. So even the ones that are not fully tile I save because you can use those for later. And there you go. So bricks and tiles. And then spackle. It is called spackle. To kind of give it a sense of realism. And then those branches, once they dry from the alcohol over the Mod Podge, get painted. So a mixture of 3 colors just to kind of, again, give it a sense of realism. And then whatever extra paint I have, I don't waste it. I try to kind of age things, aging the doorway. And so I decided to also make some plants. And there you see the scrap paper. So one of those tile mosaics had blue and it worked really well. It had a curved pattern. And once I cut out that curved pattern part, it made for a really cool looking pot. There's the pots. And I have to tell you, the painter's tape is the greatest invention. It sticks, but it doesn't stick. It's magic. So there's the finished door. There's Mouse. The stickers were a gift. So I put him in all the little things. I think the people I gift this to kind of think, oh my god, she's a slight obsession with her cat. Yes, yes I do. So now I'm adding gloss accents. Again, it'll make it look like tile. So the one at the very end I used later in the back because for some reason it didn't occur to me that the gloss accents would dry kind of weird. So kind of aging the process, making it look like it has a little moss on the bottom. You know, all those years in the rain and the sun in the Mediterranean. Then with the extra paint, don't want to waste it. Aging the steps. These steps lead up to the door that Mouse is hiding behind. The sticker mouse, not the real mouse. A little extra paint down at the bottom, just to give some shadow. Kind of makes the door pop a little. Same thing on the bottom of the window, just to make it look like it had moss. And then I still had extra paint, so I decided, oh well, I gotta make that heart pop because it's against the wall and you can't really see it unless you're really looking. And so giving a little bit of shadow and moss. So also with the extra paint, I add moss to the bottom. This is where the water would naturally settle, and a little moss shadow to where the window would be. And then kind of eyeing it, and I think the window needs a little bit more shadow underneath. So it doesn't look like it would work, but it does. And now those pots are dry, and I add little bits and pieces of some plants. And there you go. So here are the branches, one big trunk. And then I'm sealing it all with Mod Podge. So the thing about having a cat is that they get everywhere. But it's okay. So I decided at this point, I was going to make more plants. So these are some extra plants, extra greenery from kits that I've made. And here's that extra plant. If you ask me where all the pieces came from, I do not know. But a little bit of paint. You see the popsicle sticks in the background? I was trying to make a bench, and I did make a bench. And then I didn't use it. I'll use it for something else. I'll just save it, use it for something else. And then again, mossing it up. And then I darken the stems because it's really stark white and you can tell that it's a fake plant. But then if you add a little bit of paint, it makes it look like it has green stems. And so now I'm planning the inside, kind of arranging everything. I like to arrange things before I finally commit and glue them down. So that was that arch that you saw in the very beginning. And here's that wall. I added one of the branches, and I added some moss and some windows, and then I decided, hey, you know, you're gonna see this stark white space in the back, so I'm gonna add some scrap paper that looks like bricks. This paper, I do know where it came from. It came from Tissot. It was one of those $1.50 packs. And I think it's used for card making. Then Mod Podge is great. Use it as glue, use it as sealant. Makes everything stick. I mean, you're not really gonna see this part, but I'll know it's there. And I want it to look nice. And at some point I decided, let's make an alleyway that goes into the distance. So here you see the process of me making the bricks and the tiles. Now, this container never gets empty. Okay. So those little pieces of tile, they get used. So here goes process with a spackle, and then putting everything in. I added some extra foam so that the doorway is kind of angled, and there there's that archway that I just made. And then plants. From time to time, I like to place things before gluing them, and then I always change my mind. And then there's that big branch that's going to become a tree. And then I decided, you know, one more arch. Why not? And I run out of, you know, wash, the black aging wash that I use. And so you'll see here in a second how I make it. And then it's really easy, you know, instead of buying the expensive stuff, I just put like a drop of black paint. And I use apple barrel paints. It's inexpensive. I'm not an expert, I just do this for fun. So, but a drop of apple barrel paint, and then a little soap, and this is just soap from the kitchen. You just keep it there so I can control the drops, and it sort of helps to keep the paint suspended because it's going to be liquid. And then a little bit of alcohol because it helps everything dry faster. These droppers are something that I found at Dollar Tree or Dollar General, and then I add water, and then that's it. You just shake it up, and you have, you know, wash. Helps for adding shadows. I always think to myself, okay, gravity is going to pull water a certain way, and so when I add the wash, I try to make sure that gravity will pull it that way. So there you go, you see, makes it look not so crafty. And so it's all coming along. You see the plants now, the archways, and I kind of wanted to give the feeling that you were going down this side street and it was sort of cool out from the sun, and that's the feeling I wanted to evoke. And so that archway will now get a mirror. So there's that mirror, and don't mind me. There's my ceiling, and there's Mouse. Things were sticking to his paws at that point. And so with the mirror in place, I can start adding in some more of those plants. And then see a new plant there. These are all just sort of things that I have accumulated. And then see the archway is now in place. And there's Mouse. Again, curious. I listen to YouTube music while I'm doing this. Very sort of relaxing. Yes, cat. He is a very curious cat. And then he eventually settles down in the basket next to me and gives me a few slow blinks. And then we're good to go again. Huh. Silent meow sometimes. It's really cute. So now with the other wall in place, you can kind of see how it's going. So the outside of the box right now is very, very plain. So from scraps, pieces of paper that I've sort of collected, I start putting something decorative, something that looks Greek-y. what's going on the camera right here. And these are little bits and pieces of paper that I've sort of gathered that were on sale. Like anybody else who crafts, I have stashes of stuff. And so here's the back. And then here's one of the sides. You can see one of those scrap mosaic things from the projects. There's the top. And then here's the inside. It's like walking through an alleyway. Lots of plants. Just so you can see what it would look like once it's set up. Here it is amongst books, and it's lit right now from up top through the little skylight that I made by the craft lamp. And then here it is in a bookshelf, and that's what it would look like. And thank you for watching.